if you've chosen this challenge, you've chosen to get Mario to the end of a maze and make him go on to the next maze. So what we've got here is what you should have finished up with in the last lesson, or you may have got to activity 7, and in activity 7 what you're expected to have is your Mario player with 4 costumes, your maze with at least 3 costumes, or as many costumes as you can. You should call them level 1, level 2, level 3 and so on. Maze should be called maze, player should be called player, and you should have written scripts on your maze. If you haven't, I've put a little piece of script here just to make sure that my maze goes into position when I click the green flag. I just said go to X is 0, Y is 0, that puts it in the middle. So if I accidentally move my maze, when I click the green flag, it goes straight back to where it's supposed to be. On the player, I have got the script that we finished off with before, setting up position, and also how he moves and what happens when he touches the maze. And what I'm going to do is split this one up. At the moment I've got the right, the left, the up and the down arrow keys and the code for that, and I've also got in here what happens when he touches the maze. What I want is 2 blocks of code, one for just moving and one for when he touches anything. So I'm going to set that up now with when the green flag is clicked forever. So it's exactly the same as this, but all I'm going to do is drag out that one small piece of code. So in here I've got the movement, in here I've got the touching. There is absolutely no difference to my code whatsoever. If I click the green flag, Mario still runs round, and if he touches the maze, he goes back to the start. So that's just some tidying up to be done. Now, what we really need to do when we're thinking about levels is to know what level we're on to start off with. So I'm going to create a variable, and it's different to the variables we've created so far, in as much as at the moment when we choose make a variable, we've made it for this sprite only. Now I want a variable for all sprites, and I want it to be called level, so that if I'm on the maze I know what level I'm on, if I'm on the player I know what level I'm on, and if I'm on any other sprite I know what level I'm on. So it's for all sprites, the same variable works for all of them. So there we go, and the tick in the box, you could take the tick out, or actually you could leave it in for this one and just place your level indicator off the screen, so that when you're testing your game you can see it actually working. Now this is a little bit different to the way we have played before. We are going to change the setup position, and we're going to change how we manage these X start position and X Y positions. So let's just move this out of the way a little bit, and we're going to concentrate on this. The first thing I need to do, and I've just dragged those apart, and I'll just pull in what I need. I need to set my level to 0. Okay, I know that when we look at the costumes here, we've got level 1, level 2, level 3. We will have that. At the moment we're not on a level at all, and when we click the game, when we start the game, we're actually going to change this value to 1, then 2, then 3. Now before I do any more setting up, what I'm going to do is create a new sprite which is going to act as my point. So Mario is going to run around the maze until he gets to the end, that point, and when he gets to the end he's going to touch something, and that's going to signal that the maze needs to change, Mario needs to start in a different place, the end position needs to be in a different place too. So I'm going to create a simple sprite now, very simple. Don't worry about costumes at the moment, we'll deal with that later. So I'm going to choose a nice pink rectangle and just paste it in the middle of my screen. There we go, that will do, just click off it. So there's my sprite. It just fits in there nicely, but maybe if I moved it to another maze it probably wouldn't fit in, so I'm going to shrink it just a little bit. Okay, that's nice. And then I'm going to call that, rename it exit. So now I have got a place where when Mario's run around the maze, he comes up to here, touches exit, and then he gets a new maze, the red one, and he starts in a different location. That's the idea. So how do we manage all this? As I said before, we've got a brand new, which is what's making this more challenging than the other videos that I've done for horizontal and vertical movement, and it is this or these three items here: when I receive message, broadcast message, and broadcast message and wait. And what happens is, well, we're going to use it now. I'm going to pull out this broadcast a message, and I'm going to give it a message by just clicking on the down arrow and then clicking new message, and I'm going to type my message, and it's going to be next level. Okay, so that's my message. Now broadcast means shout, so what's going to happen is it's going to shout next level from this sprite, and every other sprite is going to hear that, and when they hear that, we've got this little item here: when I receive next level, do something. So we're going to shout straight away, broadcast next level, and wait. Not only that, we're going to shout that we're going to be leveling up. We need to increment the level. So we are going to need another one. We're going to need a broadcast, and we're going to type a new message in here. We're going to type level up. So what this is going to do, one of them is going to change the value of the level, and the second message is going to tell all the sprites to react to that. Told you it was going to be difficult. You'll just have to follow what I do. It will work. And then we need to set our speed, and we need to switch our costume so it's facing the right way, and finally we need to go to our X and Y start position. Notice I am not putting these in with this initialization at the moment. I'm going to have these separate so that well, the easiest way to do it is for me to put the program and explain it as we go. So the next thing I want to do is have this when I receive next level. What I'm going to do is change my level from 0 to 1, or from 1 to 2, or 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and so on. What I'm actually going to do is change the level by 1 each time. And I've got a change item here where I can choose change my level by 1. So what's going to happen on my maze and the costumes, each time I do it, it's going to change the level by 1. So 1's going to go to 2, 2's going to go to 3, 3's going to go to 4, and so on. So now we need to sort out this X and Y starting position. Now this is going to occur, well, basically when I said broadcast next level and wait, all it's going to do is change the level. The reason why it's waiting is because we've got a lot of sprites that might be working with that, and it might take a little bit of time, so we have to be patient. So we wait until all of those have finished doing all their work with leveling up before we do the next one. And this one is broadcast level up. So again, I need to go to my events, and when I receive level up, now I can do some checking. I can check which level we're on and have a different start position for each level. And I can do that with some if-then blocks. So there we go, there's my first one. If and it will make sense as we go along, I hope. We need an operator to see if things are equal, and what I'm testing to be equal is if level is equal to 1, then that is the start position for my sprite. Now if we go to another maze, so another costume for the maze, I may want, as you can see, he's sort of in the red area, he's touching the maze, and that block is in the wrong position. I might want him to start there and the end block to be there, so we're running in the backwards, or we're running in the opposite direction to the way we were running in the first one. So he's going to have a different start position on this maze. So if I put him in the start position I want on level 2, so select the costume for the maze and then place your character where you want it to start. If you click on the information button, it will give you the two values you need, 186 minus 128 for your X and Y values. And what we're going to do is say if this is level 2, so we can drag out another control, if the level is equal to 2, then we can set the start positions, set the X start position on this maze to be 186 and the Y start position to be minus 128. And we can do the same for every single level that we have. Now I've got 3 levels, so I'm going to have obviously 3 different starting positions. So let's just put the blocks in. If level is 3, then I want my X and Y start positions to be, now all I need to do is go back to my maze, find the costume, click on level 3 and put Mario where I want him to start on this level, and I think I'm going to have him starting right in the center there. So I need to find out what those coordinates are. So again, if I click on there, it tells me 145, 23. So I can go back to the scripts and I can say on level 3 he's going to start at 145 and 23. And that's done it. So what's going to happen is that whenever something shouts next level, it's going to change the level. So it's going to go from 1 to 2, or 2 to 3, or 3 to 4. And then we're going to say, okay, once we've changed the level, let's level up. Let's get the next level. So we're checking here, if the level is 1, have him start there. If the level is 2, have him start there. If the level is 3, have him start there. Now at the moment nothing will sort of work with this at all. So if I pressed go, because we have no control over anything, he can't move, pressing the keys, nothing's happening. We need to actually put some programming on the rest of the sprites and some more programming on Mario. So the one thing that we need to do is check if he's going to touch the exit. So let's put this back to level 1 so you can see what's happening. So if I move my sprite to there, maybe if I press start it would work. Put my sprite where I wanted it. Now what's going to happen is he's going to run round, run round, run round, and when he touches that, that's when it's going to shout, let's level up. So if I go back to my scripts, move these out of the way just to get a bit more space so that we can see where we are now. And it's the touching blocks that I need, which is why I separated them out from the movement blocks. I'm going to need another block like this, but instead of touching maze, This time I'm going to be dealing with the case when I touch the exit. So if I get another if block, and pretty much the same as I did before, if touching exit, I've got to do something. And what I want to do is the same that I did here. I'm going to broadcast the next level on wait, so it changes the level from 1 to 2. So broadcast the next level, and then I'm going to broadcast without waiting, change everything. Okay, so I've got exactly the same that I had in the start. So what's going to happen if he touches the exit, it's going to shout, hey, next level. And as soon as I receive next level, it's going to change the level by 1. Then it's going to shout, hey, level up. We haven't written the code yet, but it's going to start changing things. So this is going to work when I receive level up, and it's going to check. Level would be 2. It would come here and it would change the start position of our character. Now we are going to have to do something a little bit crafty. Let's see if anything works. Let's click the start. My Mario runs around the screen. You can pick him up and you can make him get to the block. There we go. I'm touching the block. Nothing happens. But what I've got to say is when he is actually touching the block, then this level counter will whiz through the roof. Okay, because he's always touching the block. What I need to do is get him off there as soon as he's touched it, and I can do that by hiding him. And we know if we go to looks, if we press on hide, he disappears. And if we click on show, he reappears. And that's really what we want to happen, is when he comes round, touches the block, the first thing we do is hide him, so he's not touching the block anymore. Then we can do all of our work. And then when we start the level, we need to actually show him so that he's in the correct position. So I'm going to do that with this block. Okay, what I'm going to do is hide him as my first statement here. And likewise, I need to show him again when he's in the new position. So when we receive this level up, let me just get some more space. We quickly run out of space in Scratch. When I receive this level up, what I want to do is actually show the character. So if I put that in there, there we go. So now that I've put this block in and I put the hide and show, we can have a look, see if it works. So there we go. We're on start, Mario towards the end. Now he's touching the block. Can you see what's happening to him? He's always on that point and the levels are whizzing up like crazy, which we don't want to happen. We've actually got to move him away from there so that it doesn't increase the levels. So that's one of our next jobs. I did say this was difficult, so hopefully you're bearing with me at the moment. We are also going to place some code on this block because we want this block to move as well. So when we're on a different level on the maze, the block will have a different finish point. So when we are on the maze, on level 2, I want this block to be where Mario is at the moment and for Mario to be down here. So I'm going to do that now with these, which is pretty much exactly the same as the scripts that we wrote for Mario here when I received level up. So on the exit sprite we need some more code, and the code we're going to need is when I receive level up, I'm going to do the same sort of trick. I'm going to have 3 if-then statements. So if it's level 1, if it's level 2, if it's level 3, I'll have 1 for each level that I have in my game. So I need to do that now with the equal sign. Now we are going to duplicate here. So I'm going to duplicate that and duplicate that, save me keep dragging things out. So that is level 1, that is level 2, and that is level 3. I'm going to drag those into their position. Level 1, level 2, and level 3. And I want to do exactly the same that I did. I'm going to have a different start X and start Y position for my exit sprite, but I haven't got them yet. I haven't got an X and Y variable, so I'm going to have to create them. And remember, these are for this sprite only. They could be called something different, but I'm going to call them the same. X start position and an XY position, a Y start position, just for this sprite only. So they're different to the ones that are on the Mario, even though they've got the same name. And so I can now place those inside here. I need 2 in each. One for X, one for Y. Let's keep the top one to X, or the top one of the 2 to X, and then I can work out where I want my X and Y to be on each level. So let's go back to the maze. Let's select costumes, go to level 1. I want it to be there. So if I click on the information button, it tells me 48 minus 259. So I go back to my scripts. So this should be 48 minus 259. On level 2, so if I change the costume on my maze for level 2, I wanted, let's just move Mario out of the way for a second. I wanted the costume to be there. So if we click on the blue icon, we've got the coordinates there. So for level 2, I want it to be at minus 188 and 142. And again for level 3 we do the same thing. Go back to your maze. Now you'd have to do this for every single level that you did. And in this one, if you remember, we had Mario starting around about here, and I want sort of the finish to be maybe down here. Okay, so go back to the information. It's giving me the coordinates minus 194, minus 137. I go back to my scripts. I can finish off that with level 3 at minus 194, minus 137. So when Mario shouts level up when he's reached the end of the level, this hears, so if it's the start of the game, it goes from 0 to 1, so it hears level 1, puts the item in the start position. If it reaches the end and it shouts, hey, I'm level 2, it puts the end position there, and so on. So if I click on the green flag, notice that we should have something happening. Mario's gone there, level's gone back to 1, however our costume hasn't changed at the moment, so we still have some work to do. So let's get back to the correct maze. So it is the costumes on the mazes that need to change now. So we need some scripts to add to this so that the maze also changes per level. Before I go there, what I need to do, although I've set the X and Y start position, what I haven't really done is sent it there. So I need to actually send it there with a go-to. So I need 3 go-tos. And we need a go-to X start position, Y start position, so that's the first one. We need another one, so X start position, Y start position, and that is for the second one. And lastly, we need to have the variable X start position, Y start position, and there we go. And that will make the exit point move to that location. We have to do the same with the maze. So going back to the maze. All we need to know is when we hear the level up, so let's handle that. When I receive level up, so I've got a new level, I need my 3 if blocks because I have three levels at the moment. And again, I need to check if I'm hearing the instructions for level 1 or level 2. Let's just duplicate level 1, level 2, or level 3. If I place those in there, level 1, level 2, level 3. All I need to do is make sure that my costume is the correct costume for the level. And I can do that with looks by saying switch costume to level 1. See how the names are now helping us? So the next one goes in there, switch costume to level 2, and finally switch costume to level 3. So now I'm changing my maze each time I hear level up, and I'm changing the end block, and I'm changing the start location of Mario. So let's click the green flag. Seem to have an issue, that's not in the right place. I'll have a look at that shortly. But let's see what happens if I take my Mario and touch the block. There we go, we've got level 2. Take my Mario and touch the block, we've got level 3. Okay, so that's working apart from the initial green flag. For some unknown reason, my exit is going down here, so I've probably got the wrong values. So if I go to my exit sprite and take a look, I wanted it right there. I can see straight away that minus 259 is the wrong number. It should be roughly minus 97. Which one am I looking at? So it should be 203. I must have had something pressed in the wrong place. 203 and minus 97. This is what's going to happen with most of your programs. They're never going to work first time. You will have to correct them. This is called debugging. It's quite normal. So hopefully that has fixed that problem. So if I click the green flag, okay, move my Mario to the pink, touch it, there we go. He's now on level 2 in the right start place. I would make him run around this maze and finally run into the next level. And there we go, we have the mechanism for moving him through levels. That is quite complicated. Hopefully we've covered it all, and that I've not missed something out, but that will soon show up. When we try to do more of the game, we will have more problems and then we'll be able to fix them. But I think I've covered just about everything you need to make it work. So after this you should have a game where you can have as many levels as you like. And if you do more levels, don't forget you're going to need new start positions for your Mario, new start positions for your exit point, and new costumes to change on this one. And we'll see that one in the next video where we combine things together.